where we talk all things books all the time. I'm sure you can tell from my super hype mood this morning that I'm very excited about the video that I'm shooting today. Okay, so today I'm going to give you guys a run through of my romance novel collection from worst to best. Part 1 is going to be the bottom 10, the duds, the losers, the books where I'm just like, mwah. I don't get it. Like, why is this even a book, and why is this a book that people like? So what I'm gonna do, because first of all, I wanted to shoot the whole thing, but I realized it's gonna be a long ass video. So I've broken it up to part 1 will be the bottom 10, and then part 2 will be my top 10 romance novels. Those are the ones that I highly recommend. These are the ones where I have things to say because there's just so many things wrong, or so many things that really just like irk to me, that like really just raise my blood pressure, that I feel like, nah. So I'm going to put a disclaimer here, first of all. At the start of each book, whenever I pick it up and I show it to you, if you are still wanting to read this and you haven't read it and you're a person who cares about spoilers, maybe skip ahead. But if you're like me, and especially with romance novels, the spoiler doesn't really do anything to me, because I just feel like most romance novels, the plot twist is not as twisty as they think it is. Like, it's not as like as they think it is. Usually, like, you can call it from the beginning. So I'm not really that big into caring about spoilers unless it's a fantasy book, in which case please don't tell me what happens. But with romance novels, oh, I just dropped an earring. I'm sorry, I'll pick it up just now. With romance novels, I don't really care. So I'm going to tell you guys because some of the things that I have to say are quote unquote spoilers of the book. Okay, so I'm going to dive straight into it because I have a lot to say. Let's get started with the Pretty Bookish romance novel ranking, bottom 10. Dun dun dun. Okay, sorry, my earring, I just picked it up. Like, just as a side note, this is the reason why I don't buy expensive earrings. All my earrings come from like Zara, H&M, Mr. Price, because I be losing earrings. It's like sunglasses. I think I've lost 4 pairs of Ray-Bans in the past year alone. So at this point, I am the kind of girl who wears 30 Rand sunglasses from Mr. Price, because obviously I can't be trusted. Okay, let's do this. Number 20 is literally a book that I read, I want to say 2 months ago, and I've been waiting for the opportunity to drag it for filth, because honestly, and it is Waiting for Tom Hanks by Kerry Winfrey. Bruh, when I was reading this book, my fundamental thought was, are we saying that this whole girl, what's her name? Annie's whole personality is romance novels? Like, that's the arc of your personality, is that you like romance novels? That's the only interesting thing about you? Like, sis, do you not have hobbies? Do you not like other things? Like, I just don't get it. Okay, so the basic plot of this book is that this girl, Annie, is obsessed with romance novels. Like, she used to watch them with her mom before her mom passed away. Like, not romance novels, sorry, I'm talking crap. Romance movies. She's obsessed with romance, like, movies. I'm talking, like, you know, old school Nora Ephron, all Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, what's her name, Julia Roberts, old school, that class, that generation of movies. She's obsessed with them. Her whole life is her trying to mold her life into a Nora Ephron movie. So as you can see, it's Waiting for Tom Hanks. So basically the plot of this book is that she's waiting for her Tom Hanks. You know how Tom Hanks is like that awkward single dad, bumbly, or he's just like this like businessman with a heart of gold, and like, you know, old school Tom Hanks. And so she's like trying, she wants the meet cute honey, she wants the guy with the weird pet and like adorable dogs and adorable kids, and she wants all of it. And so she kind of ignores every other facet of her life because she wants a Tom Hanks moment. And when I tell you they mention Tom Hanks like 35,000 times in this book, I ain't joking. He's mentioned so many times. Nora Ephron is mentioned so many times. Like, all of these cultural references are mentioned so many times that you want to be like, Kerry Winfrey, I get it now. You're talking about Tom Hanks. There's no need to shove it down my throat. Like, I can't breathe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. And so that's the thing about this book that really pissed me off, is that she's the worst. Like, there's nothing about her that's likable. She also just feels like such a two-dimensional character, because it feels like she has no life interests outside of romance novels. And I mean, I love a good rom-com, but like, guys, I travel. I like cheese. I like making milkshakes. Like, I like other things. Like, I just don't like romance novels. So I just, nah, it's a no from me. Like, I just really, and I saw a lot of people on Bookstagram when I showed people that I bought this book, people were in my DMs like, oh my god, it's so good. And now when I'm finished with it, I'm just like, I don't get it. So yeah, this book, number 20, it is the biggest dud in my collection. It is the biggest loser in my collection. Okay, number 19 is a book I also finished last month. I've been having really bad luck with romance novels because number 18 is also a book I just read. Anyway, it is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. I just, the thing is, this book, okay, here's the thing about romance novels, is that I'm a firm believer that if you don't like the characters, you're not going to like the book. Because most romance novels, with all due respect, have relatively no plot to speak of. That's not the reason we love them. I love them for the cute banter and the romance and the moments and the steamy sex and it's all cute or whatever, right? The plot follows a relatively standard procedure, usually depending on what trope you're reading. Enemies to lovers, fake boyfriend, whatever. So that's not the draw. But this one, the plot is particularly egregious because I'm just like, okay, first of all, it's about grilled cheese sandwiches. That's what their enemy's about. And I mean, quite frankly, it's just not that deep. Like, it's a toasted cheese sandwich. Like, relax, first of all. Second of all, this whole plot of their two teenagers who are running their families' Twitter accounts, their business accounts, and they're having a Twitter war. Guys, maybe it's because I don't have a family business. Maybe it's because like my parents don't have Twitter business accounts or whatever, but I don't imagine my mother just handing me the family Twitter account, just like, girl, do you start a Twitter war, get us some fun. Like, I don't imagine my mom would ever do that. Also, Peppa is just, just nothing about them is interesting. Also, the coincidental arc at the back, or the coincidental climax or whatever, at the end of the book, where you realize that Peppa's mom and Jack's dad used to date, and so that's why they kind of like have animosity, is just a little bit too coincidency. As I was saying, also the part where at the end you realize that Peppa's mom and Jack's dad used to date. Guys, I get it that rom-coms run on these ridiculous coincidences, and typically I love them. I love a ridiculous coincidence, but this one, I think it was just a combination of everything, and then to get to the end and it's just like, really? So, I don't know. I just did not like this book. I just didn't care about the characters. I mean, Jack was alright, but like Jack's drama with his twin brother and then Peppa and her sister, and it's just, I didn't like any of them. So number 19, nah. Then we have number 18, which I actually read last week. And I had to slot it in because Undercover Bromance is number 18. And basically all I have to say about this book is that Liv is the worst. Like, I don't like her at all. She's judgmental. She's like super self-righteous, very judgmental. She thinks she craps rainbows, and I just could not like her. I think Gavin was alright. No, it's not. His name not Gavin. That's the first book. Braden Mac. So Mac was alright, but like, oh god. So I read the Bromance Book Club, and I loved that book because I thought, oh my god, the premise is so weird, and it's like so, it's a different take to a romance novel. So I bought the second book because I love that one. Okay, so let me just say this, okay, because like this is a bit of a spoiler, but like it's the thing that I found the most egregious in this book. Okay, so you know how every romance novel has this part at the end where like there's this huge, like, especially this kinds of enemies to lover, that there's a huge misunderstanding, lies, deceit, they break up for them to reunite at the end. So the lie/deceit in this book is that, okay, so Liv has like trust issues because her dad was like a deadbeat dad, whatever. So Braden is not actually his real name. So he changed his name because his father was a murderer, and he used to beat his mom, and he also killed a man. So when Liv finds out her response is kind of, oh my God, how could you lie to me? Like, why didn't you tell me? You know I don't trust people. And now you don't tell me the truth. First of all, they have not liked each other. They just started having sex or being in a romantic relationship maybe 45 minutes ago. So quite frankly, I don't think that, hey, my dad used to beat my mom and he killed a man is first week, second week, first month, first 3 months of a relationship. I don't think that that's like you are expecting this man to really excavate his deepest, darkest stuff after a week of dating you because you have trust issues. Ma'am, please, I beg you to get your life together. Like, that really just pissed me off. I was just like, I can't stand her because this is the worst. Like, it's on top of the fact that, like, she is self-righteous. She is basically like a victim blamey asshole, to be honest. So the plot of the book is that she gets fired from her job because she finds the head chef at the restaurant where she works sexually harassing someone. She confronts him and now he's trying to destroy her. And so now she's on this whole wanting all the victims he's sexually harassed to come forward and basically telling them, like, this could happen to another woman. Why won't you do something? I mean, and I guess, yeah, she realizes towards the end that she's being a little bit shitty, but like, it's too late because I really don't like you now. So yeah, number 18, as you can tell, I had a lot of problems. Am I gonna read the next one? Probably, but Liv is on my shit list for life. Yeah. Okay, number 17 is Faker by Sarah Smith. To be perfectly honest with you, this book is on this list because I think I forgot 90% of the plot of this book after having finished it. Like an hour after I finished it, I was just like, I don't even know what this is about. So so the basic plot, from what I can decipher from the back, mind you, I did read this book, is that this girl Emmy works in like this male dominated, I think it's like a, what's it called, it's a power tool company. And so she puts on this front of being a really big bitch, basically. And then this guy in the office who, like, the first day they meet, she smiles at him and then he kind of scowls at her. So now they're enemies for life, which really, I mean, the narcissism, it's like, okay, maybe he's having a bad day, which I think turns out to be the case. But like, for you to literally see someone scowling at you the first time you meet them and just assume that they like hate your guts, I mean, it's a lot. I get it, like, nobody wants to be scowled at, but like, really, do you need to be so narcissistic? Like, relax. But then also, the thing about this book is that, like, I just didn't find their romance, like, believable. I just thought that, like, what's his name? Tate and Emmy, I just, it didn't, there was no synergy. Oh, big words, hashtag English major. Okay, there was no synergy in anything. They didn't synergize. They were just, I didn't believe them as a couple. I also didn't particularly like Emmy. I didn't like Tate. I didn't like a lot about this book. And the reason why I bought it is because she's not white. She's some sort of ethnicity. I couldn't tell you what it is right now, but she's some sort of ethnicity. And I thought, oh yes, I'm all about those diverse romances, but this one just didn't hit for me. It was a big miss. So yeah, that's why this is number 17. No, is it number 17? No. 2019, 18, yeah, 17. Number 16 is on this list because it is quite literally a ripoff of a movie that I loved. And I just could not. And I remember when I was reading this, I was just like, bitch, you are not about to do this. Not The Girl You Marry by Andy J. Christopher. This is literally basically plot by plot a retelling, not even a retelling, it can't be a reimagining because she didn't really change that much, of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, the movie with Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. Only different is that your girl is half black and not the lady white that is Kate Hudson. So I'm reading this book and I could tell from the back, don't get me wrong, from the synopsis, that it was that kind of book, but I was thinking she's gonna change some stuff or change enough things that you get a hint of how to lose a guy in 10 days, but there's enough, like, you know, razzle dazzle. There's enough new stuff in it so that it's not a complete ripoff. Because that's my problem, is that like with movies as iconic as How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, it's like every single scene I was picturing Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey. So now I couldn't visualize these two characters as actual people. I couldn't get invested because I just kept thinking, this is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. This is Kate Hudson. This should be Matthew McConaughey. And I kept picturing them as well, so I couldn't get invested. And I think part of the problem is that I think the writer didn't take enough departures from the typical story. Like, I would have loved a How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, a queer version, because you know what I mean, because that adds a little element of razzle dazzle. Do you know what I mean? But this one, there wasn't enough razzle, certainly not enough dazzle. So for me, it was just like wah, wah, like a big no. Just a big no. Yeah. So what was that? 2019, 18, 17. Sorry, I can't count. So that's why I have to keep counting them. Okay. Number 15. This is going to be very short. Oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. Hang on. Sorry, I am back. As I was saying, number 15. This is going to be short and sweet. The Arrangement by Sonia Lali. I can't remember a single thing about this book, and so it could not possibly be good. Sorry, not sorry. I remember a lot of things, about a lot of books. If a book is good to me, usually a scene, a character, some element of the plot sticks out and I know what's happening. I can't remember not even one single thing about this book, and so I can't in good conscience put it in the top 10. So that's why this book is number 15. Okay, number 14 is a tie between two books, same author. Which is not a great thing for this author, but to be fair, one of her books is in the top 10, so a little bit of redemption happening. And I hate to say it, I hate to do it, but The Wedding Party and The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. I hate to do it because, first of all, everybody loves Jasmine Guillory and I'm scared one of you is going to hurt me. And I also really like Jasmine Guillory. Like, The Wedding Date is in my top 10, and I finished Party of Two quite recently and I really enjoyed it. But you know what? They were not bad. Like, they were not bad enough for them to be like bottom. The only thing is that I just didn't particularly love the romances. Like, Carlos and Nick were a little bit better for me than Maddie and Theo as a couple, but I liked Maddie. I think and Theo as individual humans more than I like, if that makes sense. And I also think the problem is that, like, what's it called? The Wedding Date, it was just like a standout for me. So I kept comparing it because I'm thinking same writer, should be the same vibe. And these two just fell a little bit short of like me being like obsessed with them. I just felt like, first of all, this one is just like, it also had that like a beyond ridiculous plot. Like, it was a little bit overboard. Like, you know how rom-coms always be a little bit much? This was a lot much. It needed to be toned down quite a lot because the whole marriage, jumbotron, running away from the stadium, now the guy who saves you from the stadium is your new boo. I can't. Like, do better. And then this one, I didn't really believe them as a couple, I don't think. So that was the problem for me. I wanted better or different people for both of them. And I think their enemies to lovers was a little bit too harsh to be like softcore, but a little too soft to be hardcore enemies to lovers. Like, I needed them to either go all the way, like some Carden and what's that girl's name, Jude stuff, where he cut off her finger, or soften it a bit. Don't make it so, but it was in that midpoint that's a bit iffy for me, so yeah, no. Okay, number 13, I believe we're at. Okay, are we on number 13? Guys, my counting's a bit iffy, but I think we're on number 13, so just roll with it. Number 13 is Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This is historical fiction, historical romance, sorry. I think it's like the only historical romance novel that I own. All in all, not that bad. It just didn't stack up to some of the other books on my shelf. I enjoyed it. I like old-timey things. You guys know I love period pieces and stuff like that. I love old-timey stuff. I love old-timey British stuff. This one just needed slightly more banter for it to be funny, in my opinion. I just found that, what's her name? Annabelle and the Duke. I didn't find them, like, their banter wasn't, like, quick. Like, I needed them to be funny and quick. I don't know if it's because I was picturing, like, you know how Pride and Prejudice, like, there's a lot of, like, quick banter, even though it's, like, it's underhanded savagery. Like, I needed that kind of quick banter, and I didn't really get it in this book. So I think that's why it kind of fell a little bit short for me. But all in all, the plot, the fact that both characters had, like, their own individual hang-ups and their own drama, and then they triumphed and they worked through, and then there was also, like, some political intrigue underneath. I was here for all of that. I just needed them to be funnier, because I just feel like otherwise it's just really sad and depressing if they're not funny, right? So yeah, that was my problem with this book. But all in all, I would actually still recommend it if you like historical fiction. I thought it was quite good. It just didn't stack up to the rest of the books. Sorry. Okay, we're getting down to the wire now. Number 12 is going to be a surprise to some people, because I know some people really don't like this book. Don't You Forget About Me by Mary McFarlane. Okay, so this book for me was really good. And the reason for that is that it's British. It's a British romance, and I keep saying this. It's like, you know how, like, Bring Down the Duke didn't have banter? This one had top shelf banter. And I also just generally think romance novels set in the UK are funnier because the British are funnier. Their banter is quicker. It's sharper. Everything about it is better. So this book ended up being better for that reason. It also, the other thing that I really liked about it, it was a pro and a con. The pro part, it was like a double-edged sword, right? Because on the one hand, this is a book that's more about self-love. So there's no, as far as I remember, no kissing until like the last 20 pages. There's no sex in this book. But the girl, what's her name? Georgina. It's more about her stepping into herself and becoming a better version of herself. Yes, the plot of it is that, okay, so the plot is basically like she dated this guy in high school, and then they broke up because she did something not so nice to him. And then later she loses her job, and then she goes to get a job. She's offered a job at a bar, and then it turns out that it's his bar, and then he pretends not to know who she is. And then hilarity ensues. So yes, the romance was there, the underlying sexual tensions or whatever, but it was more about Georgina kicking her ex-boyfriend to the curb, getting herself together, stepping into herself, loving herself, becoming a better version of herself. And then at the end, the romance does come, but it's a lesser part of the book, which I think is the reason why it also can't be top 10, because I tend to really love like full-on romances. But this one has a special place in my heart because I really think that the personal growth of Georgina was really, really superbly done. I'm definitely getting Mary McFarlane's other book. I don't think it's her second book, but I think it's her other book, which is also a romance. So yeah, this is number 12 for that reason, that it was good. It was just not like a full-on romance, so it can't crack top 10. Plus, I have fire in my top 10. Okay, great. Number 11 and the last book in this particular video is When We Left Cuba by Chanel Cleaton. This book, first of all, the cover is everything. It is so pretty. It just literally makes me want to go on vacation. It's a great summer read, well-written book, fleshed out characters. I liked the setting. I feel like this would be a phenomenal movie, like a beyond phenomenal movie. The fashion, honey, like everything about it would just be fire, right? The only problem I have with it, and it's kind of like a big problem for me, is the ending. And again, if you haven't read this book, please ignore me. So the basic plot of this book is that her name is Beatrice. She and her family escape Cuba because Fidel Castro is Fidel Castroing, basically. And so she escapes Cuba. And so her family is now in the US, in Miami, trying to crack the elite there. goes to a party, meets a young senator who's actually engaged, about to be married. They start an affair. They love each other, but he is going to be a senator in the US. He's also going to run for president, supposedly. He's blue blood. She's like immigrant, like, do you know what I mean? Also, she's busy doing other things, like trying to overthrow a dictator in Cuba. So she's not here for no romance. But then, yeah, anyway, long story short, she fails at the overthrowing thing in Cuba. And then the book ends, like, fast forward to, like, I want to say like, it fast forwards to, epilogue fast forwards to, like, modern times, like now. Like, you know, when Fidel Castro was actually deposed, like, quite recently, the last 5, I want to say, years. That's when this book fast forwards to. And you find out, or you realize that her and him didn't end up together. He went on to get married and do his whole thing, and she went on to live a separate life. And that's what for me, I just know. For me, I needed them to end up together because it was set up so well. If they had ended up together and he had said, I will marry this beautiful Cuban woman, I don't care about the rest of you, I will still be a senator and I will still win and I will still be president and I will have a Cuban wife, that would have been the fire ending for me. I know people would say it's like not realistic, but guys, it's fiction. It doesn't have to be realistic. It just needs to make sense. And that would have made sense. And that's the reason why this book can't crack top 10, but I still thought it was really well done. I'm contemplating reading the other 2 books in the series because the other 2 books I think follow her sisters, but this one like really let me down in the romance finale part. So I don't know if I have the heart to actually like commit to reading the rest of the series. We'll see. But anyway, this is number 11 on my on my romance novel countdown. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I am excited to shoot my top 10 in the next week or so. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram at PrettyXBookish. Don't forget to comment in my place. I love all your guys' comments. If you liked any of these books, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, especially on any of these books and you really actually love them, drop me a comment below. Yeah, so look out for part 2, which will be the top 10 romance novels that I own, coming soon. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a really, really good day for the rest of the day. Bye.